80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing, like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
You can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
Which was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him, and like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you, and that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just like from my size. My infield velo now is 80, and my 60-yard dash is 7.0.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent with the program. I think just I had to really stay on, like focus on the path that I was trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to become elite. I was trying to get better. I know the stats at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. But going back and looking, that's not where I should be to play at the next level. Staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really like dialed into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like this before, like you talked about earlier, like it's just coming in naturally.
It felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. You do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with like coaching and their swings. You're a pretty good coach.
Hitting improved, lifting improved, velocity went up, speed went up, everything in general went up. Before joining, I tracked my 60 time and I was running a 8.22, and then after a while I did a showcase and then I ran a 7.08.
What do you think the leading cause for that? That's a crazy jump.
Probably mobility and probably the exercises that you have in your academy that allow for growth in those little tiny muscles that people forget about.
I could tell I was hitting the ball a little bit harder, and then it got better and better and better, and then my speed picked up with the sprinting training and all that, and I was just getting a lot better. But before that, it was not super good. I've definitely picked up on my hitting velo. Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at this showcase, I hit 80.
That's insane, dude.
No, so when I first saw your program, you were talking about how to get to college and how to get D1 and get recruited and all this, and that had me super interested because I'm trying to go D1 and everything, try to get a scholarship and all this, and your program definitely talks about it and helps you walk through it and get you started. Honestly, I would say like the program definitely helped me a lot. Helped me work through some things, get my visualization for games and all that, just get me prepared.
Obviously, like my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provide you?
Not at all. It's right in front of you. So it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
rounded up the middle. Mendoza throws out the shortstop. Mendoza field spins.
Mendoza throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza to second for one. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza.
For Mendoza.
Mendoza lifts one to left. An inning. Mendoza, that one's sailing back there, and it's gone.
Now, those are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word: Evan. It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had 0 offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number when I've gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.
JT's motivation to want to do it at home, be proactive in his baseball career, and we are able to do these things for him, and it's self-motivated and he's taken that action. As a parent, you want to be able to say yes to something like that.
It's been making me feel much more confident. Like now going into the season, I feel I have all the ability I need and I can just play and trust that all the work I did will pay off.
Started working out.
Testing.
120,
1, 2, 3,
115,
4.
about 160 now. I trusted it and it worked. If you want it, go get it. It's not going to come to you.
My EV was about 75 and my body weight was around 155, around that. Since I joined that, I'm up to almost 180 now and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
You can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
Which was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical.
All right, welcome in. Hope everyone's having a great day today. We're going to go ahead and move this over to that one, but hope everyone can hear me all right. Welcome back. Today is day 4 of Coffee and Baseball. So hope everyone's having a great day today. Hopefully you guys brought your coffee. If you're a parent listening in, if you're a player, guys, this is what this is all about. I want to make sure that you guys get the best baseball content possible and to be able to ask your guys' questions. So if you guys have any baseball related questions, feel free to ask them down below in the chat right now. What we've done in the past couple of days is actually do a little bit of profile reviews to kind of kick things off. Just about every single day though, I want to create some level of a basically a theme, right? So we could do swing breakdowns today. We could do Instagram profile reviews like we've done in the past. That's something where I want to kind of hear your guys' input on what you guys want to hear and what you guys want to actually learn. Because today is a Coffee and Baseball, day 4 of 50. We're going to be streaming every single day, excluding Sundays, at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So come prepared, come with your questions, and I want to hear from you guys and making sure that this is something that you guys actually enjoy doing and enjoy learning from. So for example, like what I like to do on my iPad right here is, for example, we go over, profile reviews. Let's choose blue today, and basically go over our Instagram bio to make sure that we're getting the best. Isaiah, yeah, sure, let's get it going. That's gonna include me to, I'm gonna have to pull up your page, and then from there, yeah, we'll break it down. Thanks for joining in, Isaiah. All right. Okay, we're gonna share this photo over to my iPad, and then basically from there, that's when we will put it over on the iPad. Oh, by the way, I want to do a breakdown of the racquetball side of things because that's something that I think every single person in here would benefit from. So just be prepared for that here in a second. All right, we're gonna go ahead and insert this photo. And yeah, all right, let's get into it, guys. So first and foremost, Isaiah, let's go over your Instagram profile. We're gonna include this to be on top always to make it easier. All right, cool. So first and foremost, let's actually use red. I like red. It's just a little bit more a little bit easier to see. Hopefully that this is something that you guys can also see as well. But cool. Well, welcome back to another day in Coffee and Baseball. We're going to be talking baseball recruiting, development, mentality, and then also we're going to be doing some profile audits. So Isaiah, as far as profile picture, that's where I like to typically start. It showcases that you are a catcher, which is good, but I'm always a fan of a typical profile where it's like a headshot. It's easier to see your face and who you are at the end of the day. As far as the 3 posts, this is where we're using Game Changer films, and I'm going to be honest with you, I get so turned off about Game Changer film, and I think if you're a baseball player or if you've seen baseball clips before of Game Changer film, you just know it's not necessarily the most interactive. It's not the best edited style. So these are things that I get frustrated with whenever I see, basically Instagram profiles that have Game Changer film. It's just pixelated. It's usually not edited well. It's usually raw, and it is boring. So to get into it, first and foremost, we never like that more button because that means our bio is too long. For those that don't know, basically we need to click that to see what else is written inside the bio. And we never want to create any type of click that the college coach has to do to see more about who we are. So a couple of things. So there's a lot of information. We're not, benefiting from the profile name at all, where ideally that's where we can put our grad year and possibly our position. Putting your height isn't serving you by any means. A 5'5" catcher in the grad class of 2027 being a junior, that's not going to benefit you. So I wouldn't necessarily include that. Catcher, second base, I would probably just stay with 1 and keep it as just C to eliminate more space. There's also just way too many vertical lines without correct spacing. So it just makes it look very sloppy at the end of the day. High school can always be abbreviated. You don't have to put baseball. It should be obvious at that stage. U18 AAA KV Red Sox. So that's where, like, in your local area, you might know what that means. I don't know what that means, right? And that's exactly why we want to make sure that it's relevant to the basically the scroller that just came across your page. It could be a college coach, and maybe college coaches know exactly what that is. But I've been in baseball beyond high school baseball for 10 years. I played 3 years at the D1 level and 7 years of professional baseball. I don't know what that means. If that's maybe a local rec team or something like that, that might make sense. As far as having your email, that's fine. But again, see how there's 3 dots. There's no functionality inside Instagram bio to be able to click and hold to be able to easily copy and paste an email address. So that's typically not going to be the best way of going about it. If anything, there is a function inside IG that you can create a button to email, and then ideally you can create a pop-up that will basically start up in a composed email. I wouldn't recommend doing that though. Ooh, dropped off all of that. What I would recommend doing is having a link in your bio to a highlight video, and of course that highlight video needs to be edited. It cannot be Game Changer style video. If it's Game Changer video, it's just going to be really boring to these college coaches, and we never want it to be boring. Janice, quick question. What's your thought on field level and Stack Athlete? I've never heard of Stack Athlete. If I had to guess, it's probably one of these apps that are trying to connect coaches with players and bringing them together, because that's what typically a lot of these applications and databases are. Son has profile on both. He's working on changing his Instagram X profile. So yeah, like I said, guys, so a lot of these profiles, right, they're trying to connect people over here with people over here, right? That's basically it. And if you think about it, that's the model of Facebook. That's the model of Instagram. In some regards, that's the model of YouTube and TikTok and X, right? So if we're trying to get like very niche into a sports specific, platform that basically bridges the gap for, again, these are coaches and these are players. That's also what field level does. That's what NCSA does. There's so many more, right? And we don't need another app. We don't need another profile to get recruited. And what I've heard from, let's just talk about those two. I'm never going to talk poorly about another, a database or whatever it is that's out there. At the end of the day, what it is it's a lot of assets, right? You'll have a lot of assets. Same thing like Instagram, right? And the way that I kind of envision, maybe you guys will understand this as well. The way that I envision that is kind of like this, right? Let's actually eliminate this. So you have quite literally a blank canvas. And, on Instagram, you start with a blank canvas. I did too, right? On Twitter, you start with a blank canvas. Everyone starts with 0, 0, 0 across the board. 0 followers, 0 posts, 0 following, right? We all start at 0. So you have a blank canvas. Now on Instagram, can you fill this canvas with bright colors, great video, great media, and basically present yourself in a professional way? Absolutely yes. And you can see so many more people, right? Or your content can get pushed out to so many more people. Now on field level, NCSA, things like that. Again, you start with a brand new profile, but the reach is going to be limited to only maybe a couple of people. Whereas Instagram, let's just use the size of the character as the potential reach that we can grab, right, if we post consistently. So in short, your son does not need another profile or another platform or database to help get him recruited. Those are some resources, but again, what you will get is basically a data set. You'll get a huge data set. You won't be instructed how, the most important question, how to even use it. So you're not going to be able to, what I like to always say, you're not going to get actionable advice. So what you'll get probably by joining one of maybe those programs, they might sell you on the fact that they're going to, teach you how to do recruiting. They're going to give you advice. They're not going to give you actionable advice together. Basically, what I reference as actionable advice is step 1, step 2, step 3, right? And that's actually going to put me right back into what I want to do right now with you guys is actually go over a video of what I did at the gym the other day. This is going to be a great video for any high school baseball player, any coach, any parent. This is going to be actually a YouTube video here in a second. But let's actually move this down a little bit to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. But all right, so this is racquetball. And if you guys don't know what racquetball is, definitely look into it. It's a great sport. But no, this is going to be a breakdown over on YouTube. You're probably going to see some short form content as well on Instagram as well. But what I want to do is kind of just like scroll through this with you, because I think there's so much benefit in just really just watching how I went about having some fun at racquetball at the gym that I go to. So to preface, this is something that I did with my brother a lot. We played one-on-one racquetball where he had a racket and so did I. But the thing is, like, you don't have to play racquetball the right way, right? You can field ground balls with the other hand that you're free. And what you're seeing right here is basically and right there, right? I caught it too much in my palm, and if I catch it too much in the palm, then it's gonna pop out of my hand. And if you've never felt a racquetball before, racquetballs are incredibly bouncy, and that is the point, right? It's supposed to be hard, and that's why exactly I do racquetball drills in the gym. And right there, even like a drop step, and then we're always setting our feet. These are things that I think are really, really important to understand how to go about your business, and especially going about your footwork and having soft hands the same way, right? And this is by all means, like the first time that you do this drill, it is going to look ugly. That's something that I mentioned inside the YouTube video that I recorded. Like, don't expect this to look smooth, because you're going to catch it wrong a couple of times, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be frustrating, if anything. And you're going to be like, man, I don't want to do this. Right there, it went under my hand. But yeah, this isn't even doing it with two hands. This isn't doing it with a glove. Obviously, if you're young, if you're in high school, there will be some frustrations because it's not going to look this smooth. And the last time I did this, it's kind of funny. Last time I did this was probably like 5 years ago with a tennis ball. And by the way, there's steps to it all, right? So like, there's obviously like step 1 Ooh, what's going on? Something. Okay. I think something just happened with my phone, but I think we're still good. So step one, really, and this is kind of where I want to bring in like that actionable advice. Like, yes, I can show you this, but like, how do we start up this process to make it as smooth as possible? And that's part of what I believe actionable advice is all about, right? You can talk about advice, but at the end of the day, actionable advice makes all the difference in the world. So let's get into it. So actionable advice, as far as like that racquetball example, will look like this, right? So step one, what we really want to do is start off at like a beginner stage, so that way it's not too overwhelming too soon. And for all my students that join into my academy, I don't have them do 17 different things on day one and day two, because that's going to overwhelm them. And when they get overwhelmed, they don't take action, and that's not going to help with their progress. If anything, they're going to get overwhelmed and not take that action. So as far as simplifying it, and again, what we're talking about here is actionable advice, right? If we're trying to go after actionable advice, what we really need to do is break it down into bite-sized chunks. So step number one, have a partner hit, and then basically you field with ideally like a glove, right? With a glove. That's totally fine. Safe travels, Jess. So like, have a partner hit it to you, and then you field it with a glove with two hands, right? Most importantly, two hands, right? That's going to be the easiest way to get started, especially with a racquetball. If you guys really want to dumb it down, start with a tennis ball. That's like step 1A. Step 1B, do it with a racquetball. Okay? So these are the things that we want to start off with if it's too hard, right? If it becomes easier now maybe have someone else hit, right? Partner hit. But then you field with one hand. Now it becomes a little bit harder, right? So now we're progressing closer to what I was doing. Step number 3 is basically like you hit, you field. And then what we could actually break this down into is 3A is like you field with a racket, right? So like that is something that you didn't really see with the video that I was just showing you, but for those that just are jumping in right now, I'm talking about the racquetball fielding example. You'll see it on my YouTube, you'll see it on my Instagram as well, but you can start with you hitting it and then fielding with basically two hands, but the other hand is your racket, and you're basically practicing how much involvement do we want that top hand when we're fielding that ground ball. So 3B is basically the example that I showed you in the video, right? And these are the things that, again, what we're talking about at the end of the day is this actionable advice. If we talk about these recruiting platforms, you're going to be given just another database. You're going to be you've now gained access into all these webinars and things of that nature, and they're going to just talk about recruiting for days and days and days, and then you're going to realize like, okay, well, what's the first step that I need to take? And that's the implementation that people and players and parents will come to me exactly for, is because they can get all that information on YouTube. You can get all the information on this live today, but as far as that specific implementation for your son, that's where things can get creative. That's where we ideally want to be a little bit more precise with what we're doing and how we're going about it. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of clarity on that actionable advice and how these recruiting platforms can sometimes be a little bit iffy. But that's, an area that I could talk for days about that racquetball example, because that's something that I'm really passionate about, because it teaches you soft hands, it teaches you picking the right hop, it teaches you to move your feet. These are all things that are incredibly useful if you are a high school baseball player, and especially if you're an infielder. If you're an outfielder as well, like, it's going to be a great opportunity for you to develop those soft hands. It's going to be a little bit different. But one thing I would also do, to go back to the racquetball example, guys, we'll just keep it on this format. One thing that I would always do in this example is sometimes I would just do line drives right back at me, and I would stand somewhat close to the wall that I was hitting it off of, and I would just simply test my reaction time, right? So like some of the times, like, I'm going to let it go past me because I ideally, like, it's just hit too hard. But then there are going to be times where I want to field it. Sometimes I want to catch it right out of the air. Backhands right there, setting your feet. After you field it, you pop it up to you and then basically hit it. Always practicing that setting the feet, because obviously setting the feet as an infielder is really important. But of course, making sure that you're constantly moving your feet, you're constantly setting yourself up for that momentum to be going towards first base as an infielder. That's something that you can see me do constantly throughout this drill. This is a great drill for all infielders to develop softer hands, and then also picking the right hop, moving your feet. Guys, you're going to see a breakdown on this on YouTube fairly shortly. It's just something that I love, like even just like watching the examples. I love, like right there, I didn't really position myself to the best of the ability, and it showed, right, by me overreaching, and ideally if I just set my feet a little bit better, then I would have been able to get to that ball that much quicker, right? So these are some drills that I did in high school and in college, and sometimes even in pro ball, to help develop those soft hands, and I was known for my hands. So if you guys are interested in the breakdown over on YouTube, I'm going to be creating that video, uploading it here shortly, and also creating some short form content as well to push that out as well. But yeah, I'm curious, anyone in the chat, has anyone done a drill similar to this before? Has anyone used racquetballs or used tennis balls to develop softer hands and to kind of like get that bounciness effect as a training mechanism to develop those softer hands? I'm just kind of curious. Anybody whatsoever that's listening in, has anybody used a racquetball in the past before? Hey man, do you think I can get a swing breakdown real quick? Yeah, let's do it. Tamron, let's send it over on IG, and I will find a way of getting it over. I might have to do like a screen recording or something like that, but we will find a way to make it work. But yeah, send it over on IG, and we'll do that. Austin, if you haven't used tennis balls or racquetballs, it's a great way to develop soft hands, especially in a racquetball example like this. It will be very challenging at first. And even if you use a tennis ball at first, it's going to be very challenging because we're not using a glove. Obviously, you can imagine how hard it's going to be because you're not using a glove. But that's not the hard part. The hard part is because we're using a racquetball, and that racquetball, it's going to bounce off of your hand if you don't pick it the right way. If you don't pick the right hop, it's going to obviously be shown because your feet are going to be stuck. You're going to feel the awkwardness of the hop, and that's something that we always want to be aware of, because if we're not aware of that, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to pick that right hop. I'm going to try figuring something out real quick. All right. Just sent it. Okay. I'm going to find a way to get that over to you. We'll just keep it on this one, and we will keep it on this one right now. Just make it easy to pull this up, and then once I pull it up, then we'll be able to go over it. I might have Instagram over on my iPad, so that's going to be probably the easiest way of I do not have Instagram downloaded, but I'm downloading it right now on my iPad. Yeah, typically I don't have like a ton of apps. I don't even really use many apps on my iPad. Let's get this color graded a little bit better. We have filters that we can add. I'm having a lot of fun with the color stuff. Okay, there we go. That looks better. All right, just downloaded Instagram. Hopefully it doesn't make me sign in. It probably will. It definitely logged me into a different account, which is always nice. Okay, let's try it again. And then hopefully I'll just be able to pull it up super, super easy. Okay, what's going on? Everything's bugging out. Okay, so I need to pull it up on another account right now. It looks like we're about to do a swing breakdown. By the way, we haven't done swing breakdowns in a long time. For those that are curious, swing breakdowns are like what made me popular. I would post swing breakdowns religiously on TikTok. Anybody that Instagram DM'd me their swing, I would do a swing breakdown over on Instagram. And I'll never forget, my Instagram inbox went from like 12 requests to like 60, and then it said 99 plus for, I want to say, like 4 months, until I was able to get all the way through some of those DMs, which was intense to say the least. But yeah, guys, if you have any baseball related questions, feel free to ask them down below. We're about to do a swing breakdown, and that way we'll be able to kind of do some video breakdown live here together for those that are interested. Of course, getting a little bit more resources. My iPad is bugging out right now, so it is what it is, but we are trying to, it's kind of just got that loading icon right now, and it hasn't really done anything, so it's kind of just stopped. Uh-oh. I don't know why the phone keeps doing that, but I don't appreciate it. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts so far of the daily lives? One thing that I'm trying to do a little bit better job of is having like a topic each and every not episode, but every day. I want to be able to talk to you guys like about recruiting one day, maybe mindset one day, maybe development one day, maybe we do swing breakdowns one day, profile audits on Instagram one day, story time. Maybe you guys ask me some questions about like, hey, what was the best story of this or that. I want to have every day to have some level of not necessarily like a goal, but I want to be able to talk to you guys in a way that's like you guys are going to enjoy, and I think that's going to be super beneficial. Yeah, my laptop is like not working right now. I don't know why. We will see if that is the fix. But yeah, guys, feel free to drop any baseball related questions. I do this typically for the parents, but what is today? MLK Day. So I see a lot of students in here, a lot of players that maybe just don't have school today, which is awesome. I'm happy that you guys are using your time wisely. I did have do not disturb on. I don't know why, but let me see what's going on. Yeah, my Instagram's like really bugging out right now, so let me check on my phone, and then that way maybe I'll be able to do the swing breakdown for you. Also, if anyone else is curious about doing a swing breakdown, send it over. Okay, I will be able to do it this way. So I saved it over to my camera roll. Let's see. That angle. It's gonna be better than that angle. And by the way, send over a couple of angles. That will always be better, and I appreciate you doing that because that's going to make it just that much more beneficial. Cool. All right, so we got who is this? So Tamron Fanta. So let's get into it. So I need to switch it up to this guy. Awesome. And okay, there we go. Cool. So we're going to be doing some swing breakdowns to anyone that sends in videos over on Instagram. So if you or your son is interested in me breaking down your son's swing, then go for it. But cool. So very first thing, I really should open this up into CapCut. So give me just 1 second. I'm going to open this up into CapCut because it is easier to slow-mo, and that's something that I instruct my students to do as well, just because CapCut is super easy to be able to scrub through, and you'll be able to zoom in, and then that way you're able to see a little bit more of, you know, a specific area of the swing. So let me just open up CapCut. I need to download that again because I literally only use this iPad for the app that I use to draw everything on. It's called Procreate, and that's like literally the only app that I have downloaded. So downloading CapCut for you guys right now, and then we'll be getting into our first swing breakdown in a long time. I always like to bring you guys back to the story of my good old TikTok days because that's what got me started. It truly did. I want to say over 7,000 swing breakdowns completely for free in 2019, 2020 during COVID. That's what kept me active for like 4 months straight. And yeah, it was definitely very, very fun, but also very time consuming as well. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we go. Okay, you guys should be able to see. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger so you guys are able to see what's going on in this swing by Tamron. And same thing over here. I'll make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay, that looks good. Okay, cool. So let's get started. So Tamron, okay, so see how I'm like squeezing in, maybe you guys can't see, but I'll be able to very easily scrub through this swing, and that's the purpose of what we're doing. So Tamron, first impression, let's just actually play it all the way through. It does look like there's some deceleration around contact point.
Nice.
Pretty solid front leg as far as stiff front leg. That's always helpful. That's as far as your ready position, I don't know if the BP thrower is kind of just like rushing you, but you always want to get back into a more stable position before every single rep.
Oh, that might be good BP.
Like right there, it kind of looks just like
that's
quick, right? You did use like that 3/4 like extension.
No, it's good BP,
yeah, it just
bro.
looks like your BP thrower is kind of like just rushing you because these are like low quality reps because at the end of the day what you're training yourself is to keep doing those reps, and we don't want those reps to be repetitive. You don't want your mind to reference back to those reps. So ideally what we want to do is being able to follow through all the way just like that. Also the second swing I thought was pretty good, so I'll scrub with you. Unless my iPad just wants to like completely crash, which it looks like it might be. Okay, there we go. So like right there, really strong position as far as like a stiff front leg. That's something that I always like to look for. And this is this one swing that I feel like you actually got extended and you actually finished your swing all the way through. Nice. Everything else though, I feel like you went like 3/4 of that swing of like that stop type drill of like stiff arm, and I don't necessarily think that was like BP, that's the best drill for you. So yeah, hopefully that helps in some regard, in some capacity, and maybe that's something that we will continue to do a little bit more. We need to open up this guy, and we need to keep that up because everyone needs to know this is day 4 of live streaming every single day. We're going to be doing it for 50 straight days excluding Sundays. So let's do that. All right, cool beans. Awesome, guys. So if you have any baseball related questions, feel free to ask. We're going to be live for another 30 minutes, so I want to make sure that this is as valuable of a time as possible for you guys. And ultimately, that's going to come down to you guys just asking questions. I want to make sure that you guys, ask your questions. I want to make sure that you guys get the answers to your questions because that's what this live is made for. This live was not made for, just hanging out. I want to make sure that you guys actually get your questions answered. So if you have any baseball related questions, feel free to ask. I don't know what's going on with my phone, why it keeps bugging out like that. But let me actually just check it out real quick. Okay, looks like we're good. Looks like it's plugged in and everything. I don't know what's going on, but JT, yo, what up? Do you feel like college ball or pro ball was harder? College ball seems like a grind. I was wondering if you felt the pro amenities made it easier. So good question, JT. For those that are wondering, JT's in my program. So let's kind of break it down. So we have college versus pro ball. So let's talk about the pros first. Like pros as in like positive. that's gonna mess people up. Let's talk about positives. Okay, what's going on? So as far as the positives of college, winning is the most important thing. It is a lot of fun. The amenities, depending on the specific university, you will have everything, for the most part, you need to develop your skills and get better. So as far as like facilities, they should be just as good as Pro Bowl, if not better sometimes. You will have resources of people that care about you, like academic advisors and things like that. So let's talk about like the Pro Bowl. You get paid, not a lot of money in minor league ball, of course. It is cool being, your real life, road to the show in real life. As far as the facilities, they're the same, right? So like as far as the positives, they're neck and neck. As far as the negatives, like depending again on the specific university, that specific university might not have the facilities to really nurture your growth. That's something to look for, obviously, in the college recruiting process, is making sure that they have those. But assuming that you're able to go to a school that has those facilities, think like a Boston College or anyone in the ACC, SEC, things like that. Like the facilities will be there without question. The negatives, of course, like sometimes you're gonna be strapped for cash and stuff like that. That's part of being in college. Maybe I don't even want to say like the food, because ideally the food isn't that terrible. I would say like the negatives on Pro Bowl, it isn't as much fun, so less fun if you make it less fun, right? Like I will say you can very obviously tell that Pro Bowl people are out for themselves. You can tell also in Pro Bowl that, people care about their individual stats, especially in minor league ball as you're developing, right? Developing is just a fun word of saying, hey, we care about your stats and we care about your, growth more than team wins. And like, yes, no one really cares about who the AAA champion is every single year. But there's some teams that I really do believe, just because of how good their talent was throughout the year, could probably beat some lower end MLB teams. But anyway, like you can tell that it's less fun, more individual, right? Where this is winning culture in college baseball. The only thing that people actually really care about is actually winning and actually, just basically it's very black and white. Like, did you win that last game? Everyone's happy. Did you lose? No one's going to be happy. We're going to be working on basically winning. So you can tell that individualism in the professional ranks. As far as like your original question, JT, like do you think like it's more of a grind in college? It's going to be a grind for both. And that's a positive in my opinion, right? Like it is going to be a grind. It is going to be a grind here as well. But as far as like the amenities, I will say like the amenities in Pro Bowl, if anything, like what I would say as like a positive and negative, I'll put it right here, is like food for Pro Bowl, right? Because food is, it's a funny thing. When I was with the Cardinals, we didn't really get fed the best, like at all. When like it was pretty bad. We're talking about like powdered eggs, like worse eggs than you would get at a local hotel, like a Country Inn and Suites. They would give us like not the best food for lunch before games and spring training and things like that. Now, flip it on reverse, the San Diego Padres, they really took care of us, and they actually allowed us to eat in the same cafeteria as the big league team. Back to the Cardinals wouldn't let us eat in the same cafeteria or the same dining area as the big league team, mostly because they wanted to separate like us as much as possible. The big league team would literally have a steak, a fish, and a chicken every single meal, alongside with breakfast, a custom made like omelet bar with like 2, 3, 4 chef, like an entire chef team. There was a lead chef, which was really cool. And that was all like in spring training, of course, throughout the big league season. That's how they were fed as well. But if we're talking about like the middle ground of the minor leagues, the food can be like terrible, honestly. So that's where, like, back to your original question, JT, like the grind of having more facilities and having more amenities in Pro Bowl, not always the case, especially if we're on a road trip and they don't have a gym or you have to do every workout at a hotel gym. That's not the best amenities by all means, and that's going to be half of the year you're on a road trip. You also have to take into account all the travel. It's typically going to be done by bus. Now things are getting better, but you're also worried about life stuff. You're also worried about, you know, rent, because that's something that actually has been kind of somewhat changed. But they give you the option to live kind of like on your own, and they'll give you a stipend, or you can live in team provided housing. That's something that's changed with the minor league CBA. But yeah, to kind of get back to your question, the grind's going to always be there. If anything, the better question from your perspective, JT, if I would say, is going to be which way is going to give me the path on this ladder to the MLB? Which one's going to give me that path sooner, and especially with that mental approach on which one's going to get me quicker there. So if you really think about it, like this is going to be rookie ball, and that's going to be like the GCL, Gulf Coast League. I think it's called like the FCL now, or the AZL. And that's where like the 17-year-old Dominicans are going to be playing in more times than not. So that's like the really, really low A. This is low A. This is high A, double A, you know, triple A. And then basically we'll do a 4A. Basically that's a guy that gets up and down, up and down, up and down. But anyway, so if you're let's say a high school guy getting drafted, you're probably going to start way down here, and year by year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, like it's going to take time for you to progress. And sometimes high school players are, you know, progressing very, very quick, and that's awesome to see. I know that like Connor Griffin guy, I don't know if he went to college or not, but anyway, there are exceptions for those very, very high end first rounders that get drafted out of high school. Now I will say for college guys that get drafted, and especially from like a reputable program, that's when you can get started like right here pretty quickly. And then sometimes it's like a 30-day interval, boom, 30-day, you know, and they see what you're made of. They see how you're handling the pressure of the new level. Maybe if you're a hitter, the pitching at the next level. And that's when you can get promoted extremely quick, ultimately up to the big leagues, right? So yes, you have to do your, you know, 3 years of service time, so to speak, in college instead of here. But which one's going to be the better life quality? Without a doubt, college compared to the, yes, grind of rookie ball FCL, because that is a grind. It's not always super fun, but like you are getting those reps in to an extent where in college you do have to balance school and things like that. But like this, it's going to indoctrinate you into the individualism of pro baseball, in my opinion, too soon. Whereas in college, you get that understanding of, okay, how do we win baseball games? And that's why I think there's just a great percentage. I think it's close to 50% of all big leaguers played in college, because, you know, that basically teaches players how to win baseball games. And I don't necessarily love like watching regular season baseball games anymore in the MLB, because you can kind of just tell that people are trying to get as many strikeouts as possible. Everyone's trying to hit as many home runs as possible. And that's totally fair, right? They're going after their own numbers. And then maybe in the last couple of innings, they're trying to win the ball game, especially if it's tight. But one thing I will say is, like, whenever I watch postseason baseball, it reminds me, because everyone's on the top ledge of the dugout. Everyone's excited for every success. Of course, if we talk about the Dodgers last year, like when Miggy Rojas hit that home run, the entire dugout was blowing up, right? They were so excited for Miggy Rojas, even though I've heard he's not necessarily the most likable guy. But either way, like, everyone there wanted to win, right? And that's the only thing that really, really matters at the end of the day, is win at all costs, and especially in the World Series. Well, that's what is really ingrained into you in the college level, right? Think about like a guy like Tommy Edman. I got to play with Tommy probably like a good on and off 3 years when he was with the Cardinals. And he's a winning type player, right? And it's good that he's, you know, being shown as a winning type player in the big leagues for the Dodgers, because that's what he always provided to every team that he played on, including his time at Stanford, right? So like, he went to college, he knew how to win ball games, and that wasn't necessarily by hitting home runs after home runs, right? That's not really part of his game. It is part of his game every once in a while, and that's where he's that much more valuable to his team. But hopefully that answers your question, JT. I don't know if you're still rocking with me anymore in this live or not, but let's hit up a couple of questions from Nicholas and Isaiah. So in high school, did you have a set position you knew you were going to play in college, or were you unsure about position that you would pursue? So in high school, I was a right-handed pitcher, shortstop, and I'm going to go ahead and actually rewrite this. So I was a right-handed pitcher first, and then a shortstop, right? So those were my positions in high school. And yes, I say my positions because like I was very clear cut on these are my positions, right? Especially shortstop. I was very like, I was a everyday starter here. And then when I wasn't starting at shortstop, I'd be pitching, right? So your typical, two-way player, typically that's what happens when, you can throw strikes over here and you have a decent arm. And then as far as your glove work, you get it done at shortstop as well. So when I got committed to NC State, it was pretty cool because they liked me as a two-way, right? Not every school that I talked to, for example, Florida State, Florida, like some of them didn't give me necessarily the opportunity to go as a two-way. So I kind of kindly declined, and also through those conversations, I was like, yeah, that's probably not going to be the best fit. So freshman year, and to answer your question, I had no clue what I was going to be because it kind of like turned out to be a last-minute thing. So freshman year, I was the Saturday starter. For those that don't know, basically Friday is your number one guy as far as your starting pitcher. Saturday is your number two. Sunday is your number three. And then midweek is your number four in the rotation. So as a freshman, I was the Saturday starter, right? My first outing was against Davidson, 5 innings, 1 earned run, picked up my first collegiate win. It was pretty cool. My second outing against Coastal Carolina, I believe that was the year that they won it all. But yeah, they destroyed me. Also, what a lot of people don't know about this story is in between my first outing and my second outing, my pitching coach told me to start throwing plyo balls. I never heard of plyo balls before. And I remember hearing a pop coming out of my arm, and I just didn't feel healthy going into that second outing. So we go to Myrtle Beach, we go play against Coastal Carolina. My first pitch of the outing was 85, when I was typically sitting 87 to 89. And then basically that was my hardest pitch of that outing, which was 85 miles an hour. I was sitting 81 to 83 that entire outing. I went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 6 earned runs. I think I walked 4, gave up like 3 doubles. So got yanked pretty quickly. And then I remember the next Saturday we got rained out, so I never got my opportunity to kind of like get back into action and to show the coaches that like, hey, I can do this. I never got that opportunity. But I wasn't necessarily so frustrated about that. I was just like, I was excited for that next opportunity. And that next opportunity actually came, I think, a week later. And that was our first weekend where we had ACC play. So we opened up at home against Clemson. And I remember I didn't pitch Friday, didn't pitch Saturday. And Sunday, we were up like 14-3. And it was in the 8th inning or something like that. And I come in with like the bases loaded, single, double, walk, single, double, and like barely got out of that inning. I think I went 2/3 of an inning in that 8th inning and gave up probably I cashed in from the previous pitchers, like probably a good 5 of his runs, which he was probably mad at, probably like 3 actually. But yeah, I just remember getting out of that inning, and then it was like 12-8, which I was like, not a good look. And yeah, I just remember after that, I felt hopeless. I felt like I wasn't going to ever pitch again, and that's kind of what came true. They threw me in the bullpen, and at that stage, I was like really not enjoying baseball. I was just very bored by being in the bullpen. I didn't know if I was going to pitch again. I didn't know if I was going to play again. And it all came down to, I remember pitching at the University of Miami. I came from the bullpen, and I got out. I think I just needed 1 out, and I think I threw 2 pitches and I got the out, right? It was like a pop-up in foul territory. And I was like, okay, cool. But I remember feeling this rush of anxiety, rush of stress. My head got I got like a headache instantly because I got called in from the bullpen into the game, and I just felt a flurry of emotions. I knew I wanted to perform well because this was like my one opportunity to really perform well and hopefully give them, the college coaches, an impression that I can actually do it. And I got it out, but I remember the next day, we were technically on spring break, and I was taking fly balls. I was shagging out there in the outfield, and for any of my teammates, especially in pro ball, that knows me, I love shagging out there in the outfield, just running around, getting some conditioning in, tracking down fly balls in center field. That's something that I really enjoy. How's it going, Levi? But yeah, I was out there shagging in the outfield, and I basically collided with our starting center fielder, which also, if you're a baseball player, you know anything about shagging, you know that you're supposed to get away from basically the starters that are getting reps in, especially during BP and during that shagging sesh. So immediately the coaches basically bring me back and they say, or yell at me and say, Mendy, come to the infield, get out of everyone's way. And I said, okay, that's fine. And I go to the infield and I, had a fungo. One of the coaches started hitting me ground balls, and I was like, man, this is fun. It's been like a couple months since I've taken ground balls because I was kind of a PO for the first, month and a half of the season. And I was like, man, this is enjoyable. I like taking ground balls. Like, this is fun. And because I kind of gave up ground balls because I was finding success preseason and right before the season started, I thought I was going to be a pitcher throughout the entire season. But it was probably halfway through my freshman season, I found the love of taking ground balls. I actually asked to take BP, and they were like, yeah, absolutely, you can take batting practice. And from that moment, I told myself I was going to be a starting infielder the next year. I got back, and I was very driven. I was hitting in the cages. I was having a lot of fun. I was enjoying myself, and that's something that I just continuously did throughout the remaining part of my freshman year. Played some summer ball in a wood bat league in Maryland, and then my sophomore year, hit the ground running. Between fall ball and preseason, I probably hit 600. I was so ready to go. I was working until 1 o'clock in the morning in the automatic machine, in the cages, and the coaches recognized that effort, but still didn't give me an opportunity to play because the third baseman at the time was a senior. And I think a lot of you guys can resonate to this story because when you have a senior in front of you or you have an upperclassman in front of you, a lot of you guys like to fold and think like, basically, you think to some extent, like, I can't play, second base because there's a senior in front of me. I can't play shortstop because they're upperclassmen and they're going to get the playing time. The simple solution is be better than them, guys. And it doesn't take a lot to be better than high school talent because this is going to be the opportunity that you have to really separate yourself. And it's going to be the easiest opportunity to separate yourself. If you don't believe me, wait until college. If you get that opportunity to play in college, you're splitting hairs between guys that are a little bit better than you and a little bit worse than you. Okay, how do you separate yourself there? You have to put in extra work. Of course, the common denominator will always be that extra work to really separate yourself. But then when we talk about professional baseball, you're really splitting hairs because guys that are that much better than you or that much worse than you, guys, it's never going to be easier to be better than the competition, even if they're a year or two older than you. So with that mindset, I really need you guys to get into the mindset of like, it doesn't matter if the person in front of you is a sophomore, a junior, a senior. It doesn't matter. Just be better than them, work harder than them, and that's going to ultimately give you the best opportunity to actually find success in baseball and get that playing time. So yeah, back to my story. Yeah, sophomore year rolls around. I was so ready to go. The coaches kept honoring me for all the hard work that I was putting in, but never gave me an opportunity to actually play. And I had a conversation with them. I said, because the head coach kept saying, hey, this guy Mendy right here, he's not even starting and he's working out. He's in the cage. He's doing all this. He's working really hard. And I think it was like the third time he told the entire team that I was working and I was hitting by myself and working extremely hard. And after that third one, my blood started boiling. I was like, why are you telling the team this if you're not giving me opportunities to play? So after that, I kind of talked to him. It was during batting practice, and I said, hey, coach, like, basically in a nutshell, I need you to stop using me as an example. And he goes, oh, why, Manny? Why? And he was kind of like defensive. I said, well, you're not giving me an opportunity to play. And basically that hurts me. I was emotional, to say the least, but I didn't, like, that's where, like, and maybe for the few people that are interested in learning a little bit more about like caring, like I cared very deeply about that playing time, and to be able to have those efforts turn into reality, because the efforts in the cage and working out, you know, by myself, it didn't seem real until I got the playing time and I actually showed what I was all about. So I kind of put my money where my mouth was and where my work was, and I said, you need to play me. Like, you can't keep using me as an example if you don't actually put your end of the bargain, right? I'm doing the hard work. You just need to write my name in the lineup, basically. And I was physically like upset. I was just like down for the rest of the day. And sure enough, and some people will be like, oh, you were emotional. You had to ask for playing time. And it's like, well, yeah, no, I believed in myself. So yeah, I'm going to ask for that playing time. And what ended up happening is the next day they did start me, and I was very nervous. And I went 3 for 4 with a double. And then a week later, I was still hitting 600. A week of games, I was hitting 600. And then I'd say probably my first month, I was hitting like 450. And then throughout the course of the season, it basically slowly went down to 362. My sophomore year, I hit 362. I was second team all ACC. And I put my money where my mouth was and where my work was. And I asked for that playing time, yes, because I cared. And I wasn't putting in that work just to put that work in to be an example for the team to, you know, be talked about during team practices. No, I wanted that time to actually be able to, you know, get that playing time that I felt like I deserved. So again, guys, like, and that was a hard decision for the coaching staff, because they had to sit a senior that wasn't really putting in a lot of hard work and didn't really care that much. He was a senior. He felt like he should have gotten drafted, and his attitude wasn't necessarily the best that year. And his performance wasn't good either. So, but yeah, guys, these are things that will happen throughout the high school season. These are things that are going to happen in college baseball, professional baseball. So to kind of give you guys a little bit of a, again, backstory, I was mostly a right-handed pitcher, but then when I gave that up my sophomore year, I had 362. And basically this sophomore year is what propelled me to get drafted. Big league scouts knew what I was about. They knew what my glove was all about. They enjoyed watching me play. A lot of the feedback that I was getting from these scouts was, you know, basically whatever I do as far as with my bat, it's just icing on the cake, right? It's gold, because it, you know, basically my glove was the thing that was premium for me as far as my playing profile. And this is something that I always teach to my students. You need to know what your playing profile is as far as what you bring to the table. So any type of hitting that I did extra, it was just that much better, right? And I hit 362. I didn't hit it for a lot of power, but I still was on base, and I really helped, you know, us be nationally ranked. I think we were probably ranked like 12th in the nation at the time. So, yeah, hopefully that story helps, Nicholas. I don't know. It might have been you that asked that question way back up there. But yeah, like that's where, yeah, I didn't know what position I was really going to pursue. But yeah, that's, you know, an area that is really, you know, it's really important to stay positive. Not necessarily, like, I know some people are going to relate to this story and be like, oh, well, so you just have to ask to play? Like, no. Like, I was working in the cages from halfway through my freshman year until like 2 weeks into my sophomore year. And I was like in the cage religiously. And there would be probably, in total, there was probably like 10 times that either the assistant coach or the head coach would walk into the cage at like 12:30 at night, basically past midnight. They'd peek their head in, they'd see who was hitting, and they were like, oh, okay. 10 times that happened. And then there was a boiling point where I was just like, you really got to stop using my name in these example stories, right? But it's something that ultimately just moved the needle to help me get that opportunity. And then most importantly, the area that I always like kind of glance over is I actually performed when it mattered. Guys, if I went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts that first game, they're probably going to put me right back on the bench. I performed, and I, you know, made sure that I actually was ready and mentally prepared for that opportunity. I went 3 for 4 the next day. I think I went 4 for 4. Like the next day after that, I went 2 for 4. And then it was just like, I was straight up hitting 600 after the first month of play between the ACC and preseason games, or not preseason games, but pre-conference plays. which is typically a little bit less of the competition. But either way, guys, like you really have to understand that like it's not about where you're at that moment. Because my sophomore year, the first week of the season, I thought I had 2 more years left, maybe 3 more years left of baseball. Let's make it count, because I didn't see myself getting drafted. But of course, things changed really, really quickly because of the work that I was putting in day after day, month after month, technically year after year. But all right, guys, well, we're going to be concluding up this baseball and coffee. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We're going to do a quick recap that you guys will probably see over on Instagram. So let's go ahead and get that rocking and rolling. I'm going to be recording it here. We're going to be using blue. All right, coffee and baseball day 4 recap. So we were talking about basically these, recruiting databases like Field Level and NCSA, and ultimately how they're asset-driven platforms that really help connect coaches and players. You guys don't need another profile. You don't need another platform to help you get recruited. Of course, social media can spread the content of you or your son to a much larger audience. We also talked about how ultimately these databases, again, we can go after these small people on a very specific platform like an NCSA or a Field Level. But really what we want to do is get that bigger catch, right, of a fish. And by doing that, we want to make sure that we're posting on social media. I also talked about actionable advice, which is really something that you'll never get in these recruiting databases, especially like NCSA and Field Level. The way that I really define actionable advice is having like a step-by-step process, step 1, step 2, step 3. I was also going over my racquetball examples of fielding round balls. It helps you develop softer hands and picking the right hop. JT asked a great question, one of my students, about college versus pro and really the grind of having facilities or not having facilities. And kind of just went over how college, it's about that winning culture. Pro ball, it's a little bit less fun because it's a little bit more individualized. But last but not least, it's like 2 things left. We talked about kind of that ranking system of the ladder and how going to college might put you maybe in the middle ground and help you progress a little bit quicker. Whereas if you're a high school drafted athlete, you're going to go to the FCL or the AZL. And then last but not least, an individual asked about basically what position was I in high school and what position was I in college. So I was a 2-way in high school and in college. I got committed as a 2-way player. My freshman year at NC State, I was a 2-way, and I was a Saturday, which for a Saturday starter, for those that don't know, it's the number 2 in the rotation. And basically then I made a transition after some struggles on the mound to an infielder. I was a 3rd baseman. And I told a pretty cool story about playing time, about putting in that hard work and making sure that you can actually, put your money where your mouth is. So yeah, I just went ahead and recorded that. And yeah, guys, this has been a super fun coffee and baseball. I'm going to wrap things up since we're at the top of the hour. If you guys do have any baseball related questions, feel free to join me. Same time, same platform if you want. I am live on Facebook, I am live on Instagram, and I am live on YouTube. Those 3 platforms. So if you have a baseball related questions on physical, mental, or recruiting, feel free to jump in tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. I'll see you there.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada. Evan Mendoza, 2 joyas defensivas.